We as busy mamas and photographers wear a lot of hats. We are chauffeurs, personal shoppers, chefs, bookkeepers, client relations specialists, editors, website designers, house cleaners, copywriters, stylists, and lifeguards. We do all the things. It can feel like the only way to get everything done is to multitask it all. But here's the thing. There really is no such thing as multitasking. Multitasking is literally paying attention to multiple things at one time. If we're being honest, what we're really doing is what's called task switching. Task switching looks like reading a little bit of this, writing a blog post, and then popping into our email, and then going back and scrolling Instagram, and then doing it all over again. We never really give one task our full attention. This means that it can take longer to finish a task, and we have an increase of errors by up to 50%. Today, we are chatting all about one of my favorite topics when it comes to efficiency, and that is the beautiful world of batch working.
Welcome to the Wise Photographer Podcast with your host, Chelsea Wise. Each week, Chelsea is bringing you the best tips and tricks to help you create a joyful, profitable, more purpose-filled photography business. Chelsea is a wife and mom of two who has built a thriving photography business in her tiny hometown in western North Dakota. Without further ado, here's your host, Chelsea Wise.
According to a study done by Dr. Gloria Mark, she found that most professionals only spend an average of about 1 minute and 15 seconds on a task before there's some type of interruption. An interruption can take up to 15 minutes to After an interruption, it can take up to 25 minutes to resume that task. Even though we feel like we're getting so much done, switching back from task to task, we're actually losing time because it takes our brains so long to get back on track. It's easy to see with these statistics that multitasking or task switching is not very efficient for our lives or our businesses. Multitasking is a hard habit to quit for sure. I know that I love to look to the future and see what's next instead of focusing on what I have at hand. But here's the thing. Looking towards the future wasn't moving my business forward now. And I never really felt super present with my kids. It's taken some time, but I finally created a system that works for me to plan ahead and be truly effective in what I'm doing right now so that I can be totally present with my family when I close the door on work for the day. So, what is batch working? Batch working simply is creating a focus around a topic each and every time you sit down to work. There's a lot of different ways of doing this. Some people will set aside certain days to work on things like client work, or set certain days for social media and other days set aside for networking. So that could mean you only work on client work on Mondays. Wednesdays are when you do social media and networking, and then Fridays is when you do all your finance stuff. And then repeat that the next week. Instead of looking at the week, I tend to look at the month because I only work 3 days a week, Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. So it's better for me to look at it at a month view instead of a week view. So what are some benefits of batch working? So for me, anxiety was something that I was struggling with for a long time. I know I'm not alone in this either. I think a lot of creatives struggle with anxiety. For me, I felt like I was constantly falling behind, like I was scrambling to get things out at the last minute. And batch working has given me peace of mind and allowed me to look at things a month or a year ahead of time and know that the batch working tasks that I'm doing now are actually moving me forward. And I don't feel like I'm as stressed out and falling behind. The biggest thing that batch working has done for me is to make me more efficient. Batching has given me a clear plan to pursue a healthy hustle. I basically know what it is that I'm going to do each and every day before I sit down to work, so I don't have to worry about how I'm going to get all the things done. Batch working has created clarity and helped me to reach my goals a lot quicker. Plus, I don't have those nagging voices in the back of my head thinking, oh, I need to get this done. Oh, I need to get that done. Oh, I need to get this done. I know what it is I'm working on, and I know that those other things are going to get taken care of on the days that I've set aside for them. It also has a super positive effect on my life outside of business. I can be a lot more present because I don't have all of these running to-do lists in the back of my head because I know what it is I'm working on when I sit down to work. So what does batch working look like for me? I already said that I kind of do 1 month chunks instead of week chunks, but I want to go ahead and kind of show you what that looks like. So let's take this podcast, for example. It could be really easy for me to record just 1 episode a week and then put it out the next week. But it takes me a long time to really get into the flow of writing and recording podcasts. So if I were to do it just once a week, it would eat up a lot of time. So for podcasts, I block off 2 days every 2 months to write and record episodes. So that first day is when I write out all the episodes that I'm going to be recording on the next day. And then the next day I sit down, I record them all, and then send them off to my editor. Once I'm in the flow of like really reading out the scripts and writing, it just moves a lot quicker instead of just trying to do like the 1 episode at a time. For guest post, I open up 2 Thursdays a month for my guests to choose from to record. So I am recording this episode on January 30th, and I have guest episodes that will be airing between now and April 1st. All of those guest episodes are going to be recorded by February 6th. This gives me plenty of time to create the blog posts, craft all the social media and promotions for each episode way far in advance. Okay, so let's look at editing. How does this work when we're looking at a photography business? I talked about how I set aside time for editing in my 10 tips for shooting your first wedding episode, but planning those editing days is a form of batching. By sitting down and focusing completely on editing a 1 session or 1 wedding from start to end, I'm able to kind of stay in the flow of editing instead of like popping off to go check on email or to go scroll Instagram. If I can stay focused on that one thing, then it's completely done. And I don't have this looming thing of like, oh, I still need to edit the rest of that wedding, or oh, I still have to do this. It's all done all at once. It's really actually even sped up my editing because I kind of stay in the flow of things. All right, so when it comes to email, I only check my email twice a day on my work days. I have an autoresponder set up that tells people what my office hours are and when they can expect to hear from me. And this means that I don't get stuck inside my inbox because I have certain times set aside each day to look at the new things and respond to emails. The best piece of advice if you're wanting to kind of batch your emails is to shut off all the notifications on your phone and on your computer. So they don't really tempt you to kind of jump in there and look at email when you're kind of like pulling your eyes out, editing something that you've been staring at for way too long. So shut off all of those notifications and set an alarm to when you're going to start email and when you're going to stop email. Okay, so I set aside certain days for planning content and blogging and writing podcasts, but I also set aside days in my home life for household tasks. So these tasks are things like cleaning out my car or my purse or paying bills and dropping off things for donation. I call this my duty day, and I'm going to be doing an episode completely dedicated to it really soon, but you can batch work things outside of business. Like I batch work my laundry. Like I only do laundry on Wednesdays from start to finish. All the laundry for the whole week gets done on Wednesdays. So nothing is sitting in the wash machine for a day or 2 or 3 because I forgot to put it in the dryer. Anyone else do that before? We'll get right back into the episode, but I wanted to pop in here right quick and let you know about something that I am so excited about. I've had so many of you reaching out to me asking about coaching. It has been so fun meeting you guys and diving into what's working and what's not working inside your businesses. This podcast was created to help you take your business to the next level, but sometimes we need a little bit more help. Messages from photographers across the country have been pouring into my inbox. I get it. You are sick and tired of being glued to your computer, editing a backlog of sessions late at night. You are stressed out and overwhelmed, and fear is holding you back from raising your prices and charging what you're worth. You are so sick of working with clients who just don't value your time and talent. I hear you and I understand, and I am here to tell you that there is another way. There is a way to find more joy and less overwhelm in your business, and you can stay inspired and excited about work. I am so excited to officially announce that I am taking on one-on-one coaching clients. I'm offering 3 coaching packages right now, which include a 1-hour session, a full day session, and a 4-month-long mentorship. These coaching calls are great no matter what stage you're at or what you need help with. During your coaching call, we can go over anything and everything from marketing and branding, editing, workflow and systems, to pricing and mindset. Spots are extremely limited and are already starting to fill up pretty fast. I don't want you to miss out. You can have a joyful, profitable, and purpose-filled photography business, and I'm here to help you get to the next level. If you want to learn more about what one-on-one coaching looks like with me, you can head over to coachingwithchelsea.com to learn more about the packages and see if one-on-one coaching is right for you. All right, guys, let's dig back into this episode. All right, so now that we kind of know the benefits of batch working and kind of how to do it, how do we really get started? There's basically 4 steps. So step number 1 is to find your topics. So take a step back and define what areas of a business you need to work on to maintain it. So for me, that looks like podcasting, blogging, social media, and then those big picture projects. And then there's like my general business tasks, things like emailing and editing. So I do this from the month view, but remember, you can do this from a week view. And that's the beauty of batch working, is you can fit as little or as much into it as you would like. The key is to just pick your buckets and put all your content into those buckets and then only focus on one bucket at a time. All right, step number 2 is to create a schedule. So if you're planning on batching things on a weekly basis, then you want to create that schedule. Think about what the most demanding task is for you and put that on your most motivated or energy-filled days. So what does that look like? For me, I'm super motivated and energized on Mondays. I don't know why. Mondays just get me fired up and I'm just like ready to tackle the world on Monday, right? So that is when I schedule things like editing weddings, because editing weddings can take a lot of energy and mental stamina to kind of get through something that can be like thousands and thousands of pictures, right? Social media for me doesn't take as much energy, so I schedule those things on Thursdays.
We'll get right back to the podcast, but first, the sponsor for this episode, Trello for Photography. Trello for Photography is an online course that walks you through how to get the most out of Trello to organize your client workflows, keep up with your blogging schedule, and ensure that you never forget what day you're in charge of snacks for the soccer team. No matter if you're a portrait photographer, wedding photographer, offer in-person sales, or digital only, Trello for Photography has a workflow board for you. Having an amazing workflow process that you can replicate over and over is the key to creating raging fans who are singing your name anytime someone's looking for a photographer. Inside Trello for Photography, you'll gain access to my favorite boards, including boards called the 30,000 Foot View, Step Into My Office, and my most used board, My Week. The My Week board actually is where you're going to plan everything that needs to get done each and every day of the week. It's seriously the only way I'm able to keep up with my business, kids, and the housework. You'll gain access to videos walking you through how to use each and every board. Best of all, you get complete lifetime access to boards and updates. Just copy them to your account and start saving time and actually getting things done. Never question whether or not you ordered that album for that wedding client, or spend hours searching for a PIN number for a gallery that someone forgot. Best of news, Trello for Photography is just $29. You spend more than that on a single manicure. To find out more and enroll, head over to TrelloForPhotography.com. That's TRELLOFOR photography.com.
All right, guys, step number 3 is to plan and prioritize. So we've set our schedule, but now we need to plan out like exactly when and what, right? So I use Trello to plan out my month because I have so many moving parts and things aren't super consistent week to week. My husband works an 8 and 6 schedule, so he works 8 days on and 6 days off. So our life changes a lot from week to week. So the weekly batching it didn't work for me. I tried it. It just wasn't working. So for me, I had to do it from like a month view. So the reason why I love Trello is that I can like color code things. So for me, social media stuff is all purple. Podcasting is all orange. Client work is all blue, and home tasks are red. Okay, so the reason that I love Trello is simply because I can see that calendar view and like really move things around a lot simpler than I was able to do with like a paper calendar. I actually created an entire course called Trello for Photography, and it shows you how to use Trello and gives you the exact boards that I use that you can literally copy and paste into your account. So if you want to learn more about how I use Trello, especially for like batch working, you can head to TrelloForPhotography.com for more details. All right, guys, on to our last and final step. Step number 4, get it done. Batch working is an easy way to kind of plan out your work and your chores and keep everything a little bit more enjoyable. You get to take the stress out of wondering what's next and have less nagging thoughts in the back of your head about wondering what it is you should be working on. By focusing on the one task at a time, you're able to get things done quickly and efficiently, and you can plan way far in advance and be so much more strategic in your business. By focusing in on one task at a time, you're able to get things done so much quicker and with more efficiency. Plus, when you plan ahead, you can be so much more strategic in your business and more thoughtful about how you're spending your time with those that you love. If you're going to be opening up session dates, you can start to create content that's going to support those sessions. So things like writing blog posts about what to wear or a roundup of past sessions. You can start to subtly promote your session openings in the weeks leading up to your session releases. All right, guys, that is it for this episode of Batch Working. I would love to hear what you think about it. Do you batch work? Do you bounce around from task to task? Have you tried batch working in the past? Did it work for you? Let me know. I'd love for you to join in on the conversation inside our Facebook group. You can find us on Facebook, the Wise Photographer Podcast Insiders. We will also have a link in the show notes below for you to join in on the conversation. I'd love to hear, are you batching by the week or are you batching by the month? All right, guys, that's it for this episode. I will see you in the next one. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Wise Photographer Podcast. Dive into the show's notes for this episode and all past episodes at www.thewisephotographer.com. If you loved the show, share it with a friend. Thanks for tuning in, you Wise Photographer, you.